Hey y'all, it's Malaysia. So before we get into this episode, I just want to let y'all know that there are some mature themes that will be discussed. So this is your disclaimer, okay? Please do not watch this around small children as they may not quite understand what's going on yet. But for those who are mature enough to handle it, feel free to go ahead and listen to this episode further. Now, let's cue the intro music. Peace. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Chosen Grace. Okay, as you see, I got a new setup. I'm at home, I'm in my living room, and I'm just doing the best I can, but all is well. And I hope you guys are well out there in your world. So, this episode is super special to me. As you can see, I have a very special guest. Her name is Lanitra, and she is my homegirl. We're gonna get into that in a minute, but y'all, I'm so excited. Can't you see it? I'm so excited for her to be here. If you are listening, can't y'all hear it? I'm just so excited. And yeah, this is gonna be amazing. So this episode is entitled The Prodigal Daughter. This episode is really a testimony about my friend and how I'm looking at my notes, by the way, how she really just overcame a lot of obstacles and God brought her back home. So I'm really excited. Welcome back. And Lanitra, welcome onto the podcast. How are you? Who are you? And how have you been, friend?
Hey, hello, everyone. Welcome in the room. I am excited. I don't want to say nervous because I don't want to speak any doubt into this moment, but I am like that empty space of not knowing what to expect, but knowing that God is present and that He's just going to do something big and I'm just going to be at the end. I might got to re listen to it, be like, oh, I said that. Oh, no, I didn't say that. He said that. So I have really been good. I'm in a totally different space of my life, experiencing the peace, joy, happiness. It's very different. It can be uncomfortable, not used to it, but I'm learning through His grace and patience that it's okay, that everything's
Yeah.
going to be all right. Who am
Yeah.
I? I am just a lost child that came back. Ain't nobody special. Hey, so that's pretty much the intro I got. Did I miss anything?
No, you're not. I love it. But before I even get into like the episode, let's tell the people how we know each other because child, yeah, I love her, right? And we met, it was my freshman year, it was your sophomore year. It was
Yep.
the first, so excuse me. We both went to Clemson University. And at Clemson, there's a program called Connections, which is for minority people, Black people, Hispanic people, XYZ. And Lanitra was a mentor. I was a mentee. And like, it was the first night of moving. I had moved in. And I remember because I had just got done crying because my mama left me. And I went downstairs and I just sat at the table and Lanitra was there. And then we just started talking since then.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, how everything's folded out. It did start off. And the funny part is, I wasn't even your mentor. I was just
I was mad.
around and about. Stage man.
Yeah,
But
because I
no.
remember talking to you and I was like, I hope she the mentor. I really do. But even though you was my mentor, we still got close and we talked all the time. Oh man, that is crazy.
It sounds
But
how long ago that was.
it's been a long time. It's been 6 years. Ooh,
Yeah.
Jesus, get old.
You not get old. We not speaking that. We still young, okay? The
Right.
knee still working, the back still in place. We's here.
Yes. Yes, it is. Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. It feel like just yesterday.
Yeah.
And so we got real close, but then Alicia graduated and we did talk. But as life happens, I was, going through life, grad school. Lanisha, I know she entered grad school, all the things. We just lost communication. But we fell back into communication once I saw her Instagram post. And basically, she expressed how the Lord brought her back. And so, after praying and talking to the Lord, and also, I'm going to be real honest, y'all, I had to let some of my ego go because Taj was like, she slides up on my post. And I was like, she don't slide up on none of my posts. I felt some type of way. But then I had to let it go. And so I just want to acknowledge that because sometimes our egos can get in the way of what God wants to do. And then the Lord was like, have fun on your podcast. And I was like, for real? And so I reached out. First of all, I actually talked to you. Like I ain't just using you for, attention, but I actually let my ego go and was like, let me talk to my friend, as a friend.
Yeah.
So
And I can't even say like that was never intentional.
see, exactly. I know. And that's what the Lord was like. He was like, absolutely not. He put me a check so quick. I was like, okay.
Oh, oh.
So I'm just grateful to be humble in that moment and that we're here. And I'm grateful for you.
Yeah, I'm grateful for reaching out because that whole moment of posting on my story was very like, I don't want to do this. That was a very whole moment. It was like, yeah, I'm ready to get baptized. I'm ready to do it. And I've never been big on publicizing my faith. Not because I'm hiding God and what He does in my life. I just always felt like for me it's weird or makes me feel uncomfortable to wear the scripture. It's my walk resembling it. I never want to use my faith or God as a brand or a logo. So when he was like, "I need you to post this on your Instagram," I said, "On my what? You know who's on my Instagram? Everybody from Egypt, everybody from the past. You talk about posting stuff on here." I was like, we're gonna have to think about this. So it took some time, but he sat down with me and helped me write it because I did not know what I was gonna say. I didn't know what I was gonna do. I didn't even know the impact that was gonna make. Um, and I had more views than I had followers. Part of me was like, now who is this? Who creeping on the page? But I said, it's not about me at all. So I was glad that it did something because honestly, I didn't think it would mean anything. But I'm glad that you kind of reached out and gave me the opportunity to continue stepping in the direction that he's kind of said, like, hey, I need you to share, I need you to talk. You like to sit in the background, like to stand on the wall at the party, but I need you in the circle. I
Mm-hmm.
need you hyping it up. And, I thank you for this opportunity.
And I thank you for receiving it. Because, see, as I said, and this ain't, I'm not even trying to get into me, right? But as I said, like, I had to let go of some pride. And so, what the Holy Spirit has instructed me to do is to listen. And so, I'm going to ask questions, right?
Okay.
But y'all not going to hear me. This is the most you're going to hear me talk at the beginning of the episode. It's not me. Because this is a different episode, right? But pride is real, and there can be pride in a lot of different areas of your life. And so when the Lord opened my eyes to my own pride, I'm like, oh, snap. So I'm in that process. I'll tell you guys soon, but I'm in that process of letting go of pride. And it hurts because I didn't think, you be thinking a lot of times pride hides behind false humility. And sometimes we can get caught up in our own little egos without checking it. So I'm in that space. So I see the Lord at work. Look at him orchestrating things, and we didn't even notice.
That part. That
So
part.
without further ado, I'm ready to get into the tea. And I'm so excited. I ain't stopped grinning since, and I won't. I'm so excited. So my first question asks, what was your childhood like?
Ooh, childhood. Yeah. I guess childhood starts at birth. So the day I was born, let me think back. My parents were young. My parents weren't married. They were the way they got together. It wasn't the typical like love story. It was like, oh, I love you. That's my man. That's my woman. Let's be together. It was kind of like some broken pieces fell apart, and then there was comfort. So I say that because it's almost like in the beginning, I was birthed out of a situation that wasn't molded together, that didn't have love, that wasn't anything that resembled what God has for us. Basically, a product of someone else's brokenness. The day I was born, umbilical cord wrapped around the neck, blue, didn't cry. Um, and then from that day, it was kind of like, okay, now thinking back, it's like there's a call and there's a fighter in somewhere. Because I could have been gone in that day, in that time, in that moment. But there was more to the story than fast forwarding growing up. I lived with both of my parents, and I have a younger sister. Um, and I say to people, just because you have two parents in the household, don't mean you have two parents in the household. I
Hmm.
would describe living with my parents was kind of like living with roommates. navigating one way out the other, getting some guidance when needed, getting some butt whoopings when necessary, but not really feeling that space where I could be me. I can be open. I can be honest. I felt like at times I was my mom's emotional caretaker. My dad's relationship wasn't the best. There was some emotional abuse and neglect that went along with that. And to witness that and wanted to be someone else's savior, I put on that kind of cape, like, hey, okay, you're not feeling great. How can I serve you? How can I serve you? And not really paying attention to myself. So people ask like, "How was your childhood?" I'm like, well, "What was a childhood?" I feel like I was already coming out the womb trying to help mend other people's brokenness, which unintentionally added brokenness on my own that I didn't even recognize or have to deal with until it was slapping me in the face. I couldn't go anywhere else. So yeah, that childhood was different. I in the moments of being in it, I hated it, resented it, created every excuse of how to make that pain become my purpose. And parts of it made it the difficult situation with even having a relationship with my God, with God. Like my father, birthed my biological father, and I did not share a good relationship growing up. Uh, I didn't respect him. He didn't respect me. He didn't show love to me. I didn't show love to him. He thought it was okay to put his hands on me. I was like, okay, I feel it's okay to put my hands on you. And knowing that it wasn't appropriate or okay to put myself in a position where I felt like I had to defend myself on so many levels, physically, emotionally, mentally, where it almost built a concept within myself that I have to be, in lack of better terms, my own God. I have to be the person that protects, serves, creates, provides, and not knowing how to let that role go and lean on other people and really giving myself this false impression that I can live life on my own. I don't need nobody. I'm just independent. What Neil said? Okay. So really having to surrender, and I'm loving how God's revealing how things in my childhood have created different, I would say, like thorns on my side, but it was needed and necessary to get where I'm at today. And being okay with that and forgiving God, because I don't know why I was mad at him. It's like, you let this, and this happen. You knew what was supposed to happen the day I was born. You knew all this was going on, but you allowed it. When were you going to stop? When were you going to step in? When did you not realize enough was enough? But then knowing that, hey, he could have put me in way worse situations. There could have been way worse. There could have been a time where I didn't even learn from it. And I kept feeding the brokenness and feeding the cycle and become my parents, birthing something else out of brokenness. So yeah, that's a little snippet of the childhood.
I heard you talk about how your excuse me, how your childhood affected your relationship with your parents and ultimately God. How did it impact your relationships with other people?
Yeah. So for me, I have to say what's really been honing on in me in this season is I can't love others if I don't know how to love myself. And not knowing what love was for the longest and looking for love in all the wrong places, the wrong things, the wrong people. Um, I can't pour out from an empty cup. So I can't say, hey, I love you, I want to walk with you. But I'm not doing that for myself, and I'm not even allowing God to even touch the wounds and those areas to show, okay, this is what love is. This is what patience is. This is what kindness is. So I thought, like, oh, if I pick up your paper off the ground and give it to you, oh, that's being kind. But no, like I had to realize that I was acting in a way of wanting to be served. Oh, I picked up your paper. Hopefully, next time you pick up mine. And that's not what, it was not really selfless. It was self-centered because in the back of my head, I was like, okay, I'm doing this and hoping that I get something in return. I'm being patient with somebody for X, Y, and Z, hoping that what they produce will serve me. Um, and knowing that, figuring out what are the roots in those behaviors. I'm big on self exploration. I don't know if that's just the therapist in me, but I want to know what is the roots, what's the deep cause, and how is that birthing into something else. And then realizing, like, okay, I was doing stuff in my household as a child, hoping that it would bring some type of um, servants or attention, and that means like, okay, I'm cooking dinner, I'm washing the dishes, I'm doing etc., hoping that I'm earning my parents' attention and affection. Um, Almost being not even like a people pleaser, because I know I could never please my parents because they have their own thing, but just a glimpse of like, oh, I'm proud of you, wanting to earn that love, wanting to earn that affection. Um, and I got so caught up in how to earn things that I didn't know how to enjoy when it was sitting in front of my face, which impacted when other people try to love on me for the longest period of time. And I'm still learning that today, is like how to accept love from others. Because people can say, hey, I'm here for you. I love you. I have your back if you need someone to talk to, if you need help. I'm like, I'm hearing it. It all sounds good. Like, sing the melodies. Yeah. But internally, I don't feel it. I don't know what that looks like or trust it enough within myself, because I'm not even providing that for myself. So when I had good friendships and friendships I still have today, in the beginning, I can say I wasn't the friend that they were being a friend to me. Um, in that way, like I wasn't resembling what my language was. Like I was like, hey, I love you, I'm here for you. But in my head, I knew, had some doubt, like I don't know what that is. And when people extended that to me, I was like, I don't know how to receive or accept it, but I think this is what's supposed to be happening. I see in media, I see in context, like, oh, this is what friendships are, but not knowing like that personal connection with the Lord and with Jesus, of how that actually feels to be able to walk and embody it in all areas.
That's good. That's real good. Wow. Okay. I'm taking it in. I really am. That's very good. So, at what age did you first encounter the Lord? So you grew up all the things. Did you find him in your childhood, or was it like in college? When did you first encounter the Lord?
Yeah, so I believe that I first encountered the Lord through my grandmother. Like, my grandmother was something special. I didn't know who she was and what she represented during the time that she was here with me. But now looking back at it, I always knew there was a light. There was something about her that was just different, that I was attracted to. I didn't know. I knew she was religious. I mean, my parents said they were religious. We didn't really go to church unless it was, oh, the whole family's coming. It was Easter, or I feel some type of way. Let's all go. It wasn't nothing that was brought. Nothing that was said on the pulpit was ever brought into the house. Um, but something about my grandmother was very. At first, I thought it was weird. I was like, "What is she doing?" Because I'm deaf in one ear. So every time I would come over, she would get that oil, anoint that ear, and be like, "You can be able to hear one day." And I'm like, "Oh, Grandma, what you doing?" But I would sit there. I would just be in the presence and not even knowing, like, everything she was doing was literally falling on deaf ears. And I wasn't able to pick up or collect it. And at that time, what motivated me through it was, I know every time she would do it, she'd be like, all right, go ahead and pick you some piece of candy. And I was right there, like I was in the candy shop, like, ooh, here's some Whoppers, here's some peanut M&Ms and all this stuff like that. So I really do believe that she planted a seed that ended up growing over time. Because I used to always, during hard times, I'd be like, because she passed when I was in sixth grade. And when she passed, that changed my world. Um, I didn't know what was going to look like. Because during that time, I was experiencing different struggles and difficulties with my father. And there was a time where we got into it. And I was like, hey, I want to run away. I want to go to my grandmother's house. I didn't know what was there. I didn't know what was offered, but I knew that there was some sense of safety, protection. Thing I'm thugging it out. I know my grandma was going to go back and forth. If I was actually open and honest with her what was going on during the time, I know she probably flew up to the house and had said some words and got some things straight. Um, but that's where I really feel like that was the introduction. And then from going to college, so I went to Clemson, started in 2017 of August is when I started going to Freeway. I don't know exactly when I started going to Freeway Church, but there was somewhere in between. I had a mentor at the time who was a member at the church, and she introduced us at that time in my friend group, and then I would start going. At first, I was like, I haven't been going to church. I don't know what this is gonna do, but I'll go. I heard y'all got food. They have everything, like every couple Sundays, they'll have that food. I'll be like, yeah, let me come and see what's going on. I met Pastor Jeff. Man, I love that man. Now, I know I took him to the ringer. I know
Mhm.
after conversations, he probably was like, let me try to see you surrender and get this stuff and forgive. And I'll be there crying. He'd be reading the room, and I'd be like, all right, okay. Um, but I think that for me, he was the first person that embodied like the Christ, like the body of Christ, and extended love and care. And then coming from a black man and not having a lot of father figures, to me that hit different. And I something about that was even more attractive. I was like, okay, there's a chance that not all people are bad, not all men are bad, and et cetera, all the narratives that I fed myself, that I was willing to open and listen. And through going there, I got to pick up on some seeds, but still was hitting on deaf ears. So I was there, I was present, I was in the room, I was serving, I was on the team. You asked me to do anything, I was a part of it. But I wasn't really understanding and soaking it in and making connection. Because even at the same time, I didn't have a relationship with Christ. I was doing the works. I was praying every now and then. The church gave me a Bible. It was orange. I'm like, okay, go Tigers. I'm Clemson now. Um, but I wasn't really reading for understanding. I was just reading to get through the pages and not connecting of like how I see myself in the story, or even allowing God to speak to me through it, because I didn't want that type of accountability. And I wasn't ready for it. For the longest, I've just retired my running shoes. I was a runner. You say something, all right, let me run. Let me show you how I can do this better on my own terms in my own way. So that was a life changing experience. So through that time, like I got poured on, and a lot of seeds were collected in my pocket until it was under God's timing and His time for me to actually hit the seeds to the soil. Because if I put it in too early, it would have been like sand. The roots would have grabbed onto nothing, and it'll just be washing away. But there was a season when then all the seeds hit the ground, and the ground was ready, and I was ready to be able to nurture and like pour into that and receive the water and then receive the nutrients and then grow into it. So it started with my grandmother in a younger age. And when she passed, when I was in sixth grade, I was kind of just out in the wind. I believe my grandmother's blessings and prayers carried me through it all, because there's many situations where I should not been here anymore, but I made it through. And then getting introduced to Freeway Church in undergrad was like almost like a reboot of like COVID shot. You had to get a little reboot shot. It was like, all right, let's see it another way and get in that little foundation to be able to carry it on for my own instead of just leaning off of my grandmother's feet.
I love that. So I love hearing about how your grandma like set that foundation, and then you went to Freeway Church, and I remember us having conversations about that church. So with this foundation, your newfound foundation, and everything, what was the term? When did you? I hate to say walk away, but when did you walk away from the Lord, and
Yeah.
what did that process look like?
Yeah. So I graduated from Clemson in May of 2020. Um, I thought I was set up for the world. I thought I was like, I'm gonna go live in Greenville. I'm gonna work with AmeriCorps, serve the community, you know, do my own thing. My mother told me no. And at that same time, like even though I was learning who I was, I didn't know who I was. And a lot of the plants and the seeds that were kind of rooted in childhood still was there. So when she said no, I went obedient to it because I still wanted to please my mother in her eyes. Um, so I was like, all right, I'll come back home. Hmm. Whew. Decided to go back to the place. I went back to Egypt. Not even Egypt, because it wasn't my Egypt, it was their Egypt. So I went back into a place that I got a break from. And that was eye opening. And that's when COVID hit too. So now I'm in the house stuck with the people that I'm just trying to figure out how am I connected to and how do I break free through things. And from there, it kind of like went down like a rabbit hole. It's like now I'm back in the familiar places, and it wasn't like the people in my community or friends or anything like that. I never had that many influences. They didn't have that much influences on me because my heart really wasn't tied into all the friendships and the people in the community, because I can't love what I don't know. But I know that my family was supposed to love me, and I know I have physical ties to them. So I felt some type of responsibility to have some type of make some type of relationship or intact it, and I didn't know how to steward that. So I was like, if it seems good, it feels good, then it must be good. But at the time, what felt good was not good for me. Um, so I kind of lost the faith, stopped reading. I stopped being consistent. I was plugged in for a time period. I was with a women's ministry group that I also was a part of in Clemson that kind of like birthed out of going to Freeway. We would meet virtually on Thursday mornings, and I used to be a part of it, active in it to the point that my mom noticed, and my mom was like, "What are you doing?" And kind of like speak doubt onto it. I would sit in my car, and if anybody knows anything about the humid South Carolina weather, sitting in a hot car in the morning, yes, I would sit there, put my computer up, and be a part of the ministry because I didn't feel comfortable in my own house to participate. I didn't want to be like, oh, am I being too loud? Is the computer too loud? Am I waking up? I felt like I was disturbing them, so I was like, okay, I'll just go sit in the car and do the and be a part of the community. But then also like feeling that rejection of type of shame come from my mom, and that standpoint, I didn't want to be a part of it anymore. I was like, okay, what's going on, because I had to really, God really had to sit inside me that I am not my mother. I'm not responsible for her and how she does and her well-being. And that separation was hard because I was so used to catering to her. I tied a lot of my self-worth and my decisions into what she felt was desirable over my life. But I had to realize she is a steward in my life. She don't know what's going to happen today. Don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. She don't know why I was called here and put on this earth and what to do. And when that really hit and soaked in, I was able to then return back to the faith in the way where I didn't feel guilty. Unfortunately, that didn't happen until later on. So while I was still home, I started participating in different activities, looking for love in all the wrong places. At that point, I was like, I could do what I want. Who's gonna stop me? I wasn't surrounded by a community that was like, hey, like you shouldn't be doing this. They were all like, oh, we outside, we outside, so let's be outside. Uh, so, side note, community is important. If you don't got community, please get plugged in because who you surround yourself and who feeds you has a very big influence on how you walk, talk, and what you learn and what you pick up. Um, so yeah, I went to Miami with a group of friends. We had a time. I can't say it was a good time because I don't remember all the time, but it was a time. But I remember coming back. I had a guy friend. We were close. In my head, we were more than what we actually were. I was used to nurturing and wanting to grow things. I forgot what my mom used to call me. Something like a fixer upper, something like that. So I was like, oh, I see the potential in this person. I want to pull this out. So I was going after it hard. I mean, I was introduced to him way long time ago, but it didn't really like come to a connection to a point until the other influences around me became scarce. So it's like I wasn't in college anymore. I didn't have access to just go off campus when I want to do leave and whatnot. But the option, since it got few, it's like, oh, I'm just gonna keep pouring into this and see what happens. Learned a lot of things to that because I was ready to settle. I knew that that person was not my person. I knew that. The Lord gave me this gift of discernment. I love it, but at the same time, I don't be listening to it because I'm like, at that point in time, let me show you better. I'll show you what I can do with old boy. Just wait for it. Yeah, showed my behind. So some things happened in that relationship that tore me, that wrecked me. Never thought it would happen. I never thought that situation would happen to me. Like sexual assault and rape was nothing that was uncommon from my past, but coming from that person just opened up a whole new eyes because I was like, I love this person. When I didn't love that person, because the idea of love I had at that time was just the comfort of brokenness that fed each other and the chaos and the dysfunction that kind of fueled it. So that was my definition of love. That's what that person provided. And that stability that was provided from that person was very much an echo and resembled childhood. the dysfunction, the chaos. It was comfortable. It was familiar. And then this person, I found all those same familiar spirits. Um, Rolling back to how I was saying how I was birthed out of my parents' brokenness, right there in that moment, I didn't know if me and old boy, if things happened the way that I'm so grateful it didn't happen, if we had birthed a child, we would have still been repeating the same cycle that was once before me. Um, so even in that moment, because I told myself like, nah, after high school, all this and that. I've never been a very sexual person. Kind of been kind of scared and a sixth bait due to being touched as a kid and all that stuff, and being seen and pointed out for how my body looked in like sex. I mean, like I don't know what the word is, but like people just see you as like a sex object. I've always been like very uncomfortable. I was like, I'm more than just my body. And at that point in time, I didn't really respect or show my body any type of way because I didn't like that attention. To this day, I still don't like a lot of attention in that way. So when that act happened between us, and I made it very clear to him, like, I don't want to do that. We can do everything else, but I don't want to do that. So when it happened, I was crying. I was like, God, why? What is going on? Why does this happen to me? Like, I thought you were going to show me love. How is this love? I cried the whole way back home. And might as well, this time I was driving like 3-4 hours to see old boy because I was so determined on making something out of him that wasn't him. And he told me from the jump, he was like, I'm not that person. I'm like, but you can be. You can be. And it's sometimes I think it's so wild because the enemy can be so very clear about their plan and their intentions, but our own desire to want to make it something that it's not can cause us to forget or not even see the red flags because we're so determined on seeing what good can be in something. But I had to realize and humble myself that all things work out for the good of God, not for the good of what's good for the future or what I want to see. So even in that moment, after that moment, I was like cut off from God. Like, I don't want to talk to you. Don't look at me. Like, you talking about ghosting? Bye. Snapchat, out of it. So it's like, how could this happen? And why did this happen? And I became very, I don't want to say indignant because that sounds a little wild, but I really was very much like this very rebellious spirit kind of took over. And that's when the same things that were sitting around and lingering out of my brokenness and the pain that I was already carrying on from multiple different things kind of took the driver's seat. At that point in time, all blinders were off. Don't send me a Bible verse. Don't tell me to look at the Bible app. Don't tell me to come to church. I don't want to hear about God. I don't want to see nothing about God. Because at that point in time, I was like, all these things happened. Then this happened. I don't know where else you want me to navigate, where you want me to go. So then I went to grad school, applied to a bunch of different schools. I was determined, I'm going to just go straight for it to get my doctorate. Call me Dr. Lanitra. This is what's up. Don't want to hear nothing about it. All the doctorate programs said no. I got accepted to a master's program. I only applied to that school because I believed I was going to be able to play volleyball due to some people that I was talking to. That didn't happen. I ended up being a manager, which was a great experience. I had to learn from that too. Like, not everything that I wanted was good for me. Yeah, I could have been a great athlete. I know that. People from my hometown are like, oh, what did you go off to play? And I'm like, do I want to hold on to the bitterness and the hurt and the pain from coaches and past players and experiences? No, it's not worth it. I realized that if I wouldn't go play out for sports, I would have made that would have been my next thing on the list. That would have been, I'm prioritizing yet one more thing before God. Even though I may be great in it, not all things you're good at it. Well, for me, I believe not all things that you're good at are what you're called for. So, with that being said, went to Jacksonville, was here first for 2 years. I became not to even recognize who I was. And I think that really, and I knew who I was becoming is not who I was at all. So a lot of the people that I used to keep in contact with, I was not talking to. I was not talking to Pastor Jeff. I was not talking to, I wasn't talking to you, to be honest. Because I knew what I was doing, who I was becoming was not of me. And I didn't want to hear someone call me out and say, hey, you're slipping, you're falling. Because I was running from that accountability. Because what I was doing, yeah, it did not feel good at all. Because at that point in time, like I knew better. I just chose not to do better because I didn't want to experience hurt from God again. I was like, if I'm gonna feel pain, I'm gonna feel pain on my own terms. If I'm gonna feel hurt, I'm gonna feel hurt on my own terms. But to feel that from you, I don't want to do that because I'm like, where am I supposed to turn to? At this point in time, like I had surrounded by a whole group of people at the time that I called friends, which weren't friends. I was in a program, which was great. I was not the student I was in Clemson. I would never cheat at Clemson. Ain't doing it. I was studying. I'll be in the library till 4 o'clock in the morning. In this program, let me get on Google real quick. Test open. Come in the class late. Come in drunk, high, any way, any short, shape, or form. Just at the point in time, looking in the mirror, I was like, I don't know who this person is, but since I've created this idea, how do I continue to feed it? So I was looking for different resources in different ways and being really crafty in the sense of like fueling this idea and this image that I was creating because I was like, okay, this is what's going to protect me from X, Y, and Z. Um, I think I forgot the question. I kind of went on a tangent.
It was, how did you turn away from God?
Yes. So that's when I turned away from God when I felt like He let me down in a way that I never expected. So I made the pain into my purpose, and then I replaced Him with my brokenness, and I just went off with that.
I do want to say, I think that your experience is common though, because like we don't know what's gonna happen in life, and I recently, a couple months ago, went through an experience where I was like, God, why would you do that? And it's like in that moment it's like a road, and you have two options. You can go to Him, or you can do your own thing. And I feel like a lot of the times as humans, we unintentionally do our own thing because it's easier. So I just thank you for your honesty with that because I think we all need to hear that. I mean, I definitely did. So, all right. My next question asks, so after all of this, the descent is what I'll call it. How did God bring you back?
Yeah, I'll never forget this day. It was June. It was June? No, it was July. July 19th, 2023. I recently, before that day happened, I went through this summer, I would say, of one event after another, and I was just causing pain to myself. And it came to a point where my tolerance for pain was so high that I was taking bigger risks that was scaring myself. So I took a step that scared the living lights out of me. I was like, I never in my life thought I would get to this point. And from there, I was like, I don't want to be here. I was like, if I could do this and I don't feel any type of way, like I felt conviction and like I know it was wrong, but I didn't feel like I wanted to stop because at that point I was feeding. I was like if you have a little demon or whatnot, I'm feeding this void to a point where it became the driver's seat and I was on autopilot just doing whatever and whatever made that void feel, fulfilled, but it was never filled because it was always a hole in the bottom that when that time period came, I was like, I don't know how I can look at myself anymore. Um, and I was surrounded by a whole bunch of people. And at that time, I scared myself so much. I was so vocal about it. The people that I was surrounded by, I was like, I did this. I don't know what to do or what to think about this. And since they weren't walking with Christ, which is, I mean, I'd say always ask guidance from God. Like everyone you walk with may not be a follower, but you have to know your tolerance and your maturity and faith to know that you can withstand walking next to them without being dragged and pulled each and every direction. At that time, my tolerance and my faith with God was to the lowest point. So me confessing and sharing with them, I was getting more shame and judgment. And some of them were kind of like, okay, Ann. And I'm like, what? Like, no. I can't. Um, so to that point, I was like, I don't know who I could talk to. And at that point in time, I was not comfortable reaching out to the people that I know would pour in and give me my direction because I was just so filled with shame. It's like, if I share this, do I need to share this? And do I need to share this? Um, so I one day, I think it was after class, I went out to the pond, not pond, it was a river. And I was just sitting out there just looking. I'm like, I don't know what to do. And I know I can't swim. So I was like, if I jump in this water right now, and I just hold my breath, and I was so just like out of it, I was okay with just jumping in there, taking one last breath, and just sinking. Because at that point in time, everything I was doing was weighing me down. So I didn't have any fight left in me. So I'm out there boo-hoo crying, nose running, eyes just swollen up. And there was two people that came out there. I think it was a mother and a daughter. And they were just there. They didn't say much. But I guess their presence just made me like stop. Because I'm like, I'm not going to do this in front of somebody. Like, come on now. I don't need them showing up on first 48. And if that happens, they somebody gonna jump in there and the plane gonna be over. Uh, so it was just very telling. And then I I've been so at that point in time I was so distant from God's presence. So when He came and was there, I didn't recognize it, but I knew I felt a shift and something was different. Um, and that to me that was like it meant more than anything to know that someone's going to sit here and be here, and that someone was still here regardless of everything that I've done. That you came back, and like when it came to like, oh, He left the 99 for the one, I was like, this is real. Like this is not something we just read and sing and and jump up and rejoice. But in that moment, I was like, so what do you want me to do? I don't know what to do, like what to say. Like I'm disgusted with myself. I'm ashamed of myself. Like, I don't know how I'm supposed to move forward. How do I look into moving in direction? Because for the longest, the model of my life was to love and be loved. Um, I was like, if I can do that, I can do anything. I don't care about the words. I don't care about what's behind, how many initials are behind my name, how many little coins are in my pocketbook. But just to experience that love was all I wanted. Um, and in that moment, I was just like, not talking out loud, but all the thoughts were going on. And I was just sharing and just saying. And it was like, you have a choice. You choose life or death. Because either way, you have been living, but you're not living. You've been navigating the walls of death and feeding the things that kind of fulfill that, but you're doing it on your own terms. And I can't reach you where you don't want to be reached. If you want to hide in the shadows, you can hide in the shadows, but my impact and what I can do through you can't be reached or walked out because you're choosing to walk on broken ground. And I was like, okay, so what does this mean? He was like, give me a year, and if you still feel this way, go for it. Cause I'm hard headed. Like a little negotiation. Like you got to. At that point in time, he knew where to reach me. Where it's like, okay, you think you're in control. I'm gonna let you think that you were in control in somewhat by giving you this ultimatum. But ultimately, he knew. Now I know what's gonna happen and what's the next day to come. But if this is what's gonna reach you, and this at this moment is gonna help you lean on me, come on, we'll see it. And I say like that too, because like some people, what I experience is like that comparison can be a thief of joy. Somebody maybe you might say like, oh, they're doing this and doing that. God just like gave them a car. I'm like, you don't know what that car resembles for them. Like in that moment of time, being able to have that false illusion of control that like, hey, if I give you a year, I can decide next year, July 19th, 2024, I'm not feeling this no more. I don't see your work in me. That was enough to say like, hey, let me try him. Like if someone was gifted a car, that might be their opportunity, their choice where God meets them where they're at and be like, okay, I know if I give you this, you may read 10 pages tomorrow. And then from there, you may pray a little bit more. So I was like, okay, I give you a year. Show me that you can do this better. And in my head, I'm like, you've been doing all of this for the last 24, 25 years. And this is the outcomes. You think you're really going to change something in a year? All right, we going to see. Let me go ahead and start my obituary because I know. And that's how hard headed I was at the time. I was like, I know this ain't about to be no different. Watch, next month you're going to do something and I'll be like, I feel broken and hurt. So from there, I decided I needed to move back home, which was like, wow, moving back to the place where I first I started slipping up on my faith. Um, which was not a decision that I wanted to do, but I knew that being in Jacksonville at that time was not going to help. I was too surrounded by too many influences, had access to way too many things to ever restart and reboot in a way that would have been sustainable and consistent. So I went back home for like 6 months. I by that time my parents separated, so I was no longer living with my father or living in the house that kind of, by lack of better terms, that kind of encapsulated and buried and held all the memories and things of the past. So I was with my mom. She moved out. She has her other own place. Yeah, I was still working on that separation between my mother's identity and who I am as a person. And I was able to put to practice that a little bit by setting those little boundaries and differences. Um, so that from that point forward kind of start the purification process, walking in walking from Egypt, leaving Egypt, deciding that hey, the way out, the way I thought was the way out ended my life, was not the way out. Choosing him, surrendering, and allowing him to really break off all the things that I've been accustomed to, the things that I grew an appetite for, and then all the things that have was a pleasing and was given to me as something appetizing from the people before me. Um, so that's where it really started, and then from there he just was like, "All right, let's go." Was it easy? No. Was I perfect? No. Did I just after saying yes was like, "Ooh, let me start in Genesis"? No. I was like, "I need you to show me a little bit, like what you want me to do." Until you start saying something, they say something. But even during that whole time period, I never heard his whisper until months later. It was like, to me, it was almost like I can't gift you by hearing my voice if you don't have the faith and the dedication to want to get there. Because if I start speaking now, how are you going to react? Oh, at that point in time, I would be running. You want to talk? Oh, I could. Oh no, this is a little too much. Like if I was there with Moses with the burning bush, that would have been a wrap. You would never had another chapter afterwards. I would have saw that big bush, ran up, found me some sitting there looking at the water, like, what did I just see? But he really guided me through, guided me through it all, like starting with devotionals to learning from other people, and then in a way separated myself from identifying other people's voice to then finding my own voice until I was equipped and ready to come back to Jacksonville. Didn't think I was going to come back to Jacksonville. Didn't want to. A lot of people still don't know I'm back. By the grace of God, thank you. But an opportunity presented itself where I came back, and I was terrified. I was scared, like to come back to the place where, not where my brokenness started, because I was already broken before I came here. But when I started to glorify the brokenness and kind of like dance on it like a parade, I was like, I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. And I think that fear for the longest held me accountable. I came back. I instantly found a church. At the beginning, I wasn't a fan of the church. I was like, why do you want me to come here? I came here before. I've been there several times, maybe like 3 times in the 2 years. I was like, he was like, it's bigger than you. It's more than you. I need you to have community. I was like, I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to be around people. We've been doing this thing for 6 months back at home. It's just me and you. You ain't gonna add nobody else to the party. It's like, yeah, you do. You need to add. So I've been his work just from like just going in and surrendering to the plan leaves me in awe. It's like now I have people like I talk to, I go to church with people, like have conversations I can be real with. I've even got to the point where I share parts that I've been really shameful for. I'm kind of held in the shadows, and there was no judgment. And I was like, what? I used to do this, and I was like, okay, let's have a conversation about it. I'm like, okay, this is different. This is nice. And he's still working on me. There's some times where I'm like, I don't want to go to this church. Let me go somewhere else. But he's showing me that it's bigger than my ideas and my opinions. That the church is not a building. It's a people. It's a body. What is your role in the church? How are you adding to this? Because yeah, you may be in this location at this time for a certain reason, but when you leave and you navigate the world outside of the building on a Sunday, What are you doing at your job? What are you doing on the road? You cussing people out? You cutting people off? You running that red light because you know that light is red. But just because you busy, are you occupying the things that you want over what I have destined for you? And I kind of look at now of this coming back story as like when I look at the cross now, I look at it as two intersecting roads. There's a path in a relationship that's from me to God. How am I stewarding that? What am I looking at? Am I looking at all the signs on the side of the road? Am I too busy looking to the left and the right that I'm not paying attention to what's in front of me? So eventually I'm going to crash into something. Am I too busy looking in the rearview mirror at the past of where He brought me through, where I would kind of vision like where is the ground that, where the cross was planted in? Am I too busy looking down that I'm not looking up to see what's being poured into me? Am I too busy trying to distribute, to water the ground and make sure like the grass and the plants that are around the cross that I'm carrying is beautiful, that I'm neglecting what is stewarding from here and down? Because like the water cycle, the water comes down, but it has to evaporate, it has to go up. Is the fire in me burning enough where I can take the water that's being placed in me and allow it to turn into vapor? So then God can reuse it and repurpose it to rain back down on me. And then with the intersection of the cross where it's going left to right, is how am I stewarding the life that I'm walking with, the people that I'm surrounded with, the people He's placing in my life. And how does that look? Am I too busy trying to check out this person got that new cyber truck or this person driving this hoop thing? Am I comparing that to my vehicle? Am I allowing other people to fuel the tank or even take control of the steering wheel? Where is it becoming a distraction? Is the scenery like on every single road, like driving I-26? I know I'm just gonna see a whole bunch of buildings in a straight road. There ain't gonna be nothing there. And then by the time you get closer to Clemson, you see all this little farmland or whatnot. And then you go to somewhere else, like let's say Charlotte, you see more buildings and more exciting things. Am I getting caught up too much on what's surrounding me that I'm losing sight on the purpose and the calling that I have? Do I know what that purpose and calling is on my life at the end of the day? No, not really. I know people kind of say like, oh, He's going to tell you. I tell Him, just give me the step by step. Because He knows you give me about 5 steps, I'm going to look at that 5th step, forget what the first step was and say, I can't do this. And then here I go, dusting off them running shoes, putting it on, even though I know the running shoes are way too small, but I'm going to squeeze up in there, cut off the front, make a shoe sandal, and just start going. But I think now where it comes to the point of my life is really learning and identifying the roots from the past, how that shows up in the present, and how I can give that to God and let Him work on it. And trusting that if I let Him touch those wounds and pour that, like you pour hydrogen peroxide on there, it stings. It's going to hurt. It may bleed, it may blister up, it may jump, but it takes that cleaning process needs to be done to cut yourself off, to sever the things that were once feeding it, the bacteria or whatnot that got placed in that cut. It's gonna hurt a little bit, but then the healing process is gonna be so much better. Because if you heal over something that was, let's say you're healing a splinter, like the skin starts growing underneath, you're putting yourself at risk for infection. And I know for me, what really hit me hard was the infection I was doing to other people. Like hurt people. I was hurt and broken. And I prayed to God. I was like, hey, I don't want to hurt another person. Which kind of led up to that moment where I was sitting by the river because I was tired of hurting people. Because like I didn't care if I was hurting myself. Like that was the whole idea of the beast. Hurt yourself, hurt yourself, hurt yourself. Self-harm, let's do it. I don't care. But it came to seeing how other people were, how I was impacting them, how I'm making them feel. That's where it just didn't sit right in my spirit. So, I don't know. I keep going on these tangents. I can't. I remember what the question was.
It's not tangents. Like, this is like, girl, this is good. I'm over here like, okay, let me go pray about this. I just feel like I need to go lay on the floor and pray. Seriously. This is amazing.
I hope you think so. I'm just sitting here talking. I'm just like, hey, Holy Spirit, just come to mind.
Keep talking because it's good. Like, child, it's so much stuff that I'm like, wait till we start recording. I can't wait to talk about this and then this and then this about just by me. But it's good stuff. It's good stuff. I guess I do want to say, like, I want to talk about the roots because I'm
Mm.
going through that same process. And them getting to the root is not easy. Getting to the root is not easy, and it's actually
Yeah.
very scary. So how did you? I guess are you comfortable with surrendering the roots over to God, or how do you navigate that in your day to day? Because I'm learning, like I'm at the beginning stages.
Yeah. So in the beginning, it was really understanding, finding the difference or identifying between the roots and the fruit. Like in a tree, like you see an orange, okay, that's great. You see the leaf, you see the limbs, but it's hard to see the fruit. Like you got to look past that. I had to see the actions, the things that I was doing. That was just like the fruits. That's what I was producing. And but really stemming back to, okay, where did this start from? Where did I either learn this from? Where did I pick this up? And then really asking myself, what does this do? Like, how does this serve me? If it's like, okay, certain actions I was doing was out of attention seeking. I'm like, oh, I'm doing this to seek attention. Okay, but why? And then sitting there and be like, okay, I'm doing this because I don't feel that I'm worthy enough. I don't feel that I have enough. So if I create this illusion or this diversion of attention, I'm like, okay, I can use that to feed off of the false narratives I was telling myself. And then going into, okay, why am I comfortable with saying that I'm not enough? Okay, what did I learn? What are some of the things that either been poured into me or have been attached to me that I kind of integrated as my own? Because just because people put stuff on you, I believe it is your decision to accept it. You can be like, okay, I can make this part of my clothing, or I can take this off, and trying to figure out why did I keep that. Um, and then while taking that step further, it was kind of more like, okay, so if I was to surrender this, what would this look like? If I was to say that, hey, I am enough and I am worthy, what would this look like? In the beginning, it was like, okay, if I said this, I probably would act different. The food that I'll be producing would definitely be different. And what would be the outcomes? I would be in more healthier relationships. I was like, healthy? I don't know about that. None of that. Like you change, like changing your diet. If you go from eating Chick-fil-A every day, and then you say, "Hey, let me eat kava," because they got a little bit more greens to it than that one piece of lettuce you get on that chicken sandwich, you gonna be like, "I ain't used to this." Um, so changing the appetite and all was okay. Am I how what am I doing to feed what was on my plate that was saying, okay, I'm not worthy of this or I am not enough? And what on that plate am I willing to substitute with something else? And doing it gradually. I didn't jump from one scale to the other. It was like, okay, I might shred the bread. If the bread represented not feeling that I was beautiful or not feeling that I was intelligent or, given the skills or equipped to do X, Y, and Z. Okay, what would it look like if I changed that to something else? If that's like, right, how would it feel to surrender that in a way? But backing that up with changed behavior. For me, it was more beneficial to make a connection. Like when I read the Bible, I have to make a connection to what I'm reading. If not, it doesn't stick, and I have a hard time applying it. So, like before today, like I read the parable of the lost the son. I was like, okay, I see how the father showed up in my life. I see how I was both sons at one point in time, and now it sticks. So when I talk and share, thinking about those different scriptures hits differently. And then I went to identifying what scriptures are placed that say I am enough. And from reading in that, how do I apply that? How do I put in my life that I'm the head, not the tail? That came with putting in boundaries. I was scared of putting in boundaries because I was scared of running other people away and making myself feel alone. Um, but knowing the difference between being lonely and alone. Alone, I could be in a room, just one body. At that point in time, loneliness is when you don't feel like you connect to anybody else. Knowing the difference, that okay, I can sit in this season of isolation that's not put on myself to hurt myself, but to really give me the time to identify who I am, to be able to identify what those roots are. Because I can't identify and dig deep if I'm constantly covering it up with dirt of distractions.
Mm.
Um, so I found that very helpful. I would say the walk is not easy to always be open to do it with someone else who may not have that close emotional tie. Um,
Mm.
so for me, I believe therapy was a great tool. at the point in time, it wasn't as helpful. If therapy something that kind of scares you, you feel like, oh, I don't want to tell a stranger my business. Well, you tell your business on the internet anyways. We seen that Instagram post, we seen that Twitter post, we see how you popped off in Walmart on somebody else, somebody already in your business, rent free or not, it's somewhere. But having that trusted person, really praying to God to ask to guide you to a person that you can really walk with, that's going to hold you accountable to identifying what those roots are, because it's hard to see your blind spots when you're in the driver's seat. That's why you have tools. That's why you have your side mirror. That's why you have your rear view mirror. If you drive a car with no windows, God bless you. I don't know how you get nowhere. I don't know how you merging left and right in those lanes or backing out of spaces.
Wow.
But to really have that person that's going to be like, okay, let me challenge you. That and they also don't have that emotional tie. So when you share stuff, it's not like, oh, I'm gonna disappoint you. You can't disappoint them. They're here to help you unscramble the things that are going on in your life. I'm a little biased as a therapist, so I'm like, everybody should have a therapist and go through it, but also understand that it can be intimidating. So it's starting off with like a mentor, getting comfortable with sharing, because you have to be ready for the process. The process is not going to be ready. You can't just sign up and say, hey, I'm going to have a therapist, you're going to do the work. I mean, as I speak for myself, can't speak for anybody else. If you come to me, you think I'm going to do the work for you, that's a lie. I'm not. I'm not doing all. This is your process and it's your journey. I'm your GPS to go through left to right. If you want to go left, you can go left. You want to go right, you want to go right. If you want to sit at this stop sign until Moses come home, go ahead, sit at the stop sign. We'll sit there together and figure out what is causing you to sit in that position. But ultimately, being ready to identify those roots is giving yourself, for me, I felt like I was giving myself permission to say, hey, I'm willingly getting back on the operation table. I'm willingly going through the x-ray scan. I'm ready to see what I've been working so hard to cover up. And how do I address that? And asking God, hey, what do you want me to do? Where do you want me to start? Because if you try to do a surgery on the whole entire body at one time, you're gonna get lost. Some part of your body is gonna lose out and bleed out because you can't do all at once. What part do I need to look at right now? So for me, the first part that he pointed me, directed me to, was re-examining how I approach and navigate the world of love. So he got me a journal. I was like, okay, what do we want to do about this? Went to Target. I saw like how they had the questions about like self love. So I was directed to go get that. And I was like, all right, I'm here. What do you want me to do? It was like, okay, I want you to answer these questions, but from my point of view. And I was like, I don't know your point of view. Exactly. Come in, get in the book. I was like, okay, let's see what's going on. And before we started today, I read through all the questions and all my answers. Because the question is separated in three parts. It's like past, present, and then I believe it's in the future. I can't remember. I'm not to that part. I'm on the present section. But I completed the past section. That was my assignment before I got baptized, to really re-examine the past, because I want you to let go. I want you to fully wash yourself of these sins, but you can't wash yourself of something that you don't know that is present. So I went through all those questions, and as I read it today, like to kind of prepare because I really wanted to put myself back to where I was to see how I actually came through it. Because everyone can tell a beautiful story. I could be like, I was gonna die, and the Lord came and He saved me. Hallelujah. Okay, that's great. That sounds good for the advertisement. But I need some meat, bones, and potatoes. Like, how do you actually walk the walk and talk the talk? Because to me, it was discouraging to me in that process of hearing everybody talk about these great things, but nobody being real about how it all happened in between. They'd be like, it's going to be hard. You're going to fail. You're going to have some times where you're going to want to run back. Okay, what'd you do though? What did that look like? How did those attacks look like? And I'm big on exposing attacks of the enemy. Yeah, they may do this, but the more you expose and put light on it, the shadow gets a little closer and a little bit smaller and quite smaller than that. And if by the grace of God, if the shadow completely disappears, hey, I'm here with it. Let's just live in the light. But yeah, that was really good. So I learned how to love myself from His point of view. Now I'm learning how to love others authentically and deeply, which is also a challenge. To receiving love from God is hard. Now, receiving love from peers, the people I walk with, it's a process. It's there. It's just there. He's doing some things, and I'm just like, uh, I don't know, giving some confirmation on something that was already being told. That when it was presented to me, I was like, ain't no way. Um, Basically, God was like, get prepared for your husband. I said, husband, who? I know you lying. Who? This is not desiring my heart. So I did not want this. I ain't trying to do all this. Um, so like, you see me as being married? Like, nah. Please stop it. No, don't clap the ring. Sit down.
Just send me
Um,
the invite because you don't get invited to mine too. So
hey, it's gonna be something. Because I was like, you just got to the point where you taught me how to love myself, and I can like when I sing, I love you, Jesus. Oh, I mean it. And now when I sing it, it may not sound the best, but it's there. It all hearts in there. Um, and I think it's a beautiful process too, because like the way I used to sing like Keisha Cole Love, what's the first line? Like I used to think that I wasn't fine enough, like that, singing that how hard I used to sing that, and now be able to transfer that same passion and that same um, relatability to like singing "We Love You, Jesus," "We Honor and Adore You." I'm like, okay, slowly putting the steps together because now that I understand what the meaning is, I'm able to live and walk in it and then be able to embody, embrace all parts of it. It's not just a word, it's not just a textbook, it's not just, okay, I love you too. Like now in text messages, when people say, oh, love you, I always put I love you. Because before saying love you was fine. It's like, oh, it's distraction. But like, I mean it. And I want to mean that. I want that to mean how it's coming from me. Like I'm intentionally in this process and in this movement, not just passively saying, "Oh yeah, love you too. See you tomorrow." Um, so yeah, it's a process. It's a journey, and it really starts. I would never have got to this point if I didn't take the time to allow God to expose those roots, so then I can rebuild the foundation in His eyes and in His image through His nourishment, rather than rather than feeding the foundation of scraps that were already there. There are many holes where the roots come from, because like the ground, when the roots go down, it creates paths in ways where it like navigates. And through a broken foundation, if you ever saw a house that got took over by some weeds and some vines, you lose sight of the house real quick. All you see is, I mean, it might look nice. Yep. It might look nice on the outside, like, oh, let me take a picture. But the foundation in the house is hurting. The window no longer serves the purpose as a window. The installation no longer keeps the house warm. Um, and then for me, from God really exposing and creating a new foundation, now I can grow plants around the house. The foundation is there. The house is there. The windows are meant to open, to let things in and out. The door is there to serve a purpose. What am I welcoming? What am I not welcoming? Everything has its purpose and its function, and it's going forth with that while also appreciating the things around it. Am I like totally saying like, oh, the weeds and the vines of where I grew up with, let me just toss it in the furnace and never see it again? No, it has its corner, it has its place, because the process reminds me of where I came from. Therefore, I could say, all right, this is where I was, this is where I am. Now that I'm able to separate the two and really learn, understand, allow God to really heal and nourish that, I'm able to speak and talk about that with other people. But I also don't want to get to a point where I forget my humbleness and I'm like, oh, I've been there, I don't do that anymore. And now I'm riding on this high horse, on a high horse that God can really snatch right underneath me. And I'll be sitting on a mule over here all upset because I ain't got no cushion, no saddle, no nothing, all discomfort, because I'm forgetting that I am not who I am today on my own well-being. Absolutely not. Can't even say that. I'm not even here talking here on my own well-being. I was about to run before even getting on the chat. But really knowing that he can do it if you let him, but you got to be ready for it. He ain't going to push you too far, and I'm glad that he doesn't. If he put too much pressure on you, you going to crumble. Sorry to say it, you might think we Hercules at times. Sorry, you're not. Hercules is not real. It's fake. I mean, if you said he was David, but David wasn't built like Goliath. But we don't say, oh yeah, we big like a life. No, because you know a rock took him down. You got to be able to humble yourself to the point where it's like, hey, what can I do? What do you want me to do? I know this hurts and it's gonna hurt. How do we work through this? And that's for me is where I found the transformation, um, from roots to riches.
That's the name of your book. Okay, period.
Whoa, 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 whoa there. I ain't said nothing about no book. You want a chapter? You want a notebook? I
Man,
hear the notebook I wrote with the first one.
this is good tea, man. Like when I listen to it back, I'm definitely gonna take some notes because I'm like, look at me, look at me. I see me. I'm like, ooh, So this is good. My last question
Okay.
asks, after this process, and of course we are never perfect, right? We all going through the sanctification process to the day we get on through. What advice do you have for any of the other prodigals out there? For those people who are like, God, this hurts. I can't trust you. For people who may be in similar predicaments as you, or people who are completely different, but their hearts are far from God and they walked away. What advice would you give them?
Yeah, I would say like, hmm, less of advice, but more of like some things to pay attention to. Because until you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, you're not gonna want to do different. So I'm not gonna sit here and be like, turn away, read your Bible, get on the program, let's go to church. No, I'm not gonna say that to you. Because from someone who was there in that point in that period of time, that don't mean nothing. I would say that when you know you're ready to say, hey, let me give this another chance, give it a try, is when you're tired and sick and tired of the same thing. If you're here listening to this, that means you want some. There's some part of you that wants a change, that wants a difference. Because if not, you would have not chosen to click on this. To be honest, and don't doubt yourself. You are ready. Ready doesn't mean we out here ready for the Olympics to take off, about to run this 100-meter dash in 19 seconds. No, ready means that I'm ready to just pick up a pencil. I'm just ready to just start having a conversation with him. It's not something to me. I wish going into it, I had someone telling me that it doesn't mean big change and big transformation is going to happen in that moment. It's not. It's going to take some time, and that time is really like test that. It's going to build your endurance. You're going to be tested. You might get that late night text. You might get that, ooh, I know I should be eating more than just ice cream and Krispy Kreme, but you know the ice cream and Krispy Kreme hitting, it's gonna be more than, it's gonna be that time where you're like, okay, I need to get up and go for a walk today. The little sudden changes to celebrate every little small step, because that small step may seem very small to you, but that makes a difference. Like when the my son said, okay, let me go home. Let me be his servant. He got sick and tired of being sick and tired of doing what he was doing and being out there with the pigs. I know that thing had to stay. To be like, all right, I'm ready to be a servant in my own father. The land that you were giving royalty to, I'm willing to be a servant there, than to
Right.
be put in a place that I know that I'm not supposed to be in. So when you're ready to overturn that place that's uncomfortable, when it starts to feel just even a little bit uncomfortable, you know you're getting ready. You know you don't need to be drinking this whole bottle of Patron. You know you don't need to eat fried chicken every day. Your blood pressure is bad. You already know that. It's the small things that you already gonna pick out in yourself and to trust and lean into that. Just because the Holy Spirit in you feel is not built up, it's still there. The helper, the advocate is right there when you're willing to listen and adhere to it. It's gonna come up in little sudden signs. It's gonna maybe come up when you know you're too drunk to get behind that wheel. It's like, I need to call Uber, or like, oh, I don't need to hit this blunt right now. It's going to come up in small little steps. You're like, okay, I'm ready for a change. And then from there, taking that change and making more progress with it. And I say progress over perfection every time. No one wants you to be perfect. Ain't nobody perfect. Jesus was the only one that was perfect. And Lord, thank you for him, because I couldn't do it. What he was doing, I definitely was going to do it. Okay, you say you can't eat. There's like 3 fishes. I guess you might as well eat these 3 fishes and these 3 loaves, because I'm not producing no more. But we are so lucky to have him as an example, to know that this is what the outcome can be. But that's not, ultimately, we can't fulfill that, and not putting that pressure on yourself. to know that difference, change is going to be discomfort. I'm trying to remember. Let me grab my phone real quick because there's something that a friend said um, that really stuck with me, and that really helped me solidify and know. It was confirmation for me to know that I was ready, and I don't want to misquote him. So I'm going to go to my notes. Lord, please help me find it. I feel like the the message was called Prepare the Way. Here it goes. Okay, so the question he asked was, do you want to be comfortable where you are or uncomfortable where I upgrade you? And to me, when he dropped that, I think he was just saying to say, but I was like, that right there was like, okay, do I want to be comfortable where I'm at, surrounded by all the things, all the trophies, all the, at that point in time, all the glorified moments that I kind of placed on the shovel, like, oh, I did this, I've been here. Do I want to be comfortable where I'm at in that small room? Or do I want to put myself in a situation where God can really stretch me, use me, transform through me in an area that I don't know where I'm at? Like for me, I'm not a big dreamer. I've never been a big dreamer because I've never known or I never realized that I'm worthy of bigger or better things. God's still working me on about that because I could be like, hey, you can go outside and watch my car for me. And I'm like, oh, thank you, Lord Jesus. But I'm not over here thinking like, oh, you can, I don't know, send me a mansion or something like that. But to know that there's bigger and better things that he can upgrade, prepare you for, but he's not going to give you the keys to a mansion if you don't know how to maintain and clean a small room. So for me, I would say it starts with the small changes and then by being dedicated to continue to go through that and trusting yourself that you are ready. And your ready is not going to look like my ready. Your ready is not going to look like Malaysia's ready. Your ready is not going to look like Jesus' ready because we are all different and doing our own walk. But to know when you start feeling that discomfort is that time that you know that, hey, you're willing to ready to be upgraded to a different spot, a different position, and only God's going to lead you to that. He's the only one that's going to know what that final destination is because he done made them plans way before. Yes, we love Jeremiah 29:11. Love it too, but I challenge you to read Jeremiah 29:10. You got to get ready. You got to prepare yourself before you can get to the end. No, I'm not going to quote it out loud. I need you to go to the Bible and read it. Mic drop. But that would not saying I want to give advice because advice to me is like, hey, I'm telling you, here's a couple steps to go, but to really encourage you to lean into just that small bit of discomfort to know like, okay, I'm ready for better. And you may not believe it today. I didn't believe I was beautiful when I was like, oh yeah, people popping off, getting X and Y and Z looks and compliments. Yeah, a lot of words in a room can fill up space, but until you take those words and apply it and actually listen to it and be able to reflect it back to yourself, it's not gonna stick. Tape don't just stick on you because it's what duct tape. It has an adhesive to it. You gotta be the one that applies the adhesive so it can be applicable to your life. That's all I'm gonna say on that before I go on another tangent.
Now that's good because I think it's confirmation that somebody, even if it's just me, needs to hear this because I just did a Tea Tuesday where I said, find God in the uncomfortable. He had led me to Jonah 1. And Jonah, he was like, go to Nineveh. And Jonah was like, absolutely not. So he runs away. But it doesn't say Jonah ran from Nineveh. It says he ran from the presence of God. And what the Lord revealed to me was he said, I'm in this hard thing. I'm in the hard thing. I know you don't want to go speak to myself. I know you don't want to do this, but I need you to do this. And so I just think it's so profound that God wastes nothing. And even when we don't like it, he's there. So
Yeah.
that's all I have to say. Told y'all wasn't gonna hear me today.
Yeah. Though that's really good though, because I think when it comes to even looking at the Bible in a way, it could be intimidating. Like, oh, I don't know this. I don't know this story. I don't know what this means. But to really look at the Bible in a way that best, I don't want to say best brings you comfort, but best makes sense. Just like there's a different variations of translations, and there's no wrong translations. The translation that you read is right. Also, reading it from a lens that comes from you. I think to me, I think it's some people think it's funny. I think it's funny at times too. But I'm like, it's so real. Like someone who has a different path and different walk from me that was more involved in more gang related activities. The way they look at the Bible is Jesus and the 12 disciples is Jesus and 12 of the gang members. And the way they relate the stories, it makes sense to them. Like you got to read the Bible from where your understanding is at. You don't expect a kindergartner to start reading chapter books. They're not gonna understand it. Just like who God's not expecting you to read the Bible the way Paul or Peter or Moses wrote it, because that's how he made it at their time. Yeah, Moses still went through some discomfort. You think he wanted to lead them people? Absolutely not. He was ready to be going and running around the corner, but knowing that God made it and came to him to where it was understandable for him. So like when you read it, like when I read the Prodigal, the lost son, I'm not trying to force it. Like, okay, how is the pastor of this church? How is this religious leader going to read this? No, I'm sitting here like this. Yup, going out there in the wild. We was outside. Yeah, okay. Or even like if you're going back, if you're starting with the story of Jesus, and you hear about Judah talking about he traded up for 30 silver pieces of silver. If it helps you, add your own personality to it. Judah said, "Give me my money. I don't care about Jesus. Give me my money." And feel like, okay, I relate to that where I was going X, Y, and Z and I just said, give my money. Like find ways that you can have a relationship with the words and tie it to, because I promise you, that's what changed for me. That's where it stick. Because you can go to Easter Sunday every Sunday and be like, okay, he died on the cross. This is what happened. But now, okay, what did I put on the cross? How do I make this relate to me? What were
Okay.
the things that, you know, I thought brought me life that was death? He was getting spit at. I bet there was a time somebody was bullying you. If there wasn't a time somebody was bullying you, think about the time you was bullying somebody else. It's okay to sit yourself in the narrative of what is supposed to be the bad person, the bad guy. Because the bad guy is just somebody that also was lost too. And there's many times where we're lost. There's so many times where we've been a Peter, we've been a Paul, denied Jesus 3 times. Come on through with it. I could say, yeah, I denied Jesus maybe multiple times, more than 3. So we can't just look at everybody in the book as being this, oh, that's a bad person. Let's not do this. Let's just focus on Jesus. But Jesus worked through all these people to allow them to get to the point where they're at, which is big for, especially if you're still running out there. He's going to work through you to get to where you're at. But you got to be the one to be ready to untie the laces of the shoes, put it up on the corner, and put you on some Crocs or some socks, something more walkable, so you can walk alongside him to get to the point where he's going to do his big one.
Man, I love that. And, I thought I had something to add, but I'm going to just leave it there. I'm going to let you do it, therapist Lanitra, because
Ah,
you ate that, man. Like, I just want to say thank you for even being here, because when the Lord told me, he was like, just be quiet. And I'm like, okay. But it's hard, but I, I'm hearing and I'm like, wow. And I'm like, okay, okay. And it's just, this is a beautiful testimony. So I just want to thank you for being here and just for being willing. And I just thank God for our relationship, because it's a God ordained relationship when y'all haven't spoken in a while, but y'all get right back and we can still crack the jokes because
yup.
it's. So I'm grateful for you, but more importantly, I'm grateful that you are you back home, but we've always needed to be.
Yeah, yes, definitely. And I thank God for all of it. And whew, being back home is nice. I like being Pastor Princess. To surrender the will, let him do what he's gonna do. Yeah. And for those who don't believe it, it happens. I'm in so much awe. Like I think the other day after church, was it Sunday? Came on with some worship music, kind of like, kind of what's it called decompress from the service. It was pretty good. And I was sitting there in shock and awe of God's love. Like he was just pouring it out like, hey, you got here. And now the thing is like this. I probably missed so many times that God is trying to show and pour his love out to me because I didn't know how to receive it. But it all starts from you just giving your yes and just giving your try. So yeah, God's doing a big thing. I thank God for it all.
Okay, Temporine. I love
Yeah, come on now.
I love it. I love it. Well, Lenitra, that is all I have. Do you have anything you want to add? Anything you want to say? Any final thoughts?
And I think for me, what I'm hearing right now is to continue to press forward. I hold me accountable. I want to repost this on the media. I know I'm gonna be quiet on social media, but I want to continue. If there's any ways that I can help or support anyone, also like if people are like, "Hey, I'm hesitant to go to therapy. I don't know what that looks like." I'm willing to be a resource. DM me on Instagram, X_Nitra, Nitra. Let me spell it out there for you. If you have questions, yeah, like if you have also questions on the story, the walk, feel free to ask. If it's where I can't answer in a moment, I'll let you know. Okay, it's not. I don't have the pieces together to give you the full picture. Because I'm still working on different puzzle pieces. But if it's just enough for you to be like, hey, I'm willing to try, let's get it. Let's try. I'm not at the position right now where I'm doing a private practice. I'm not there. There's a lot of learning that I still have to do that God is equipping me to get there. I can't wait. I'm excited to be able to offer that space where people can walk, talk, and get to the roots to riches. That's funny. Now that I said that, you talk about a book. I'm like, that's okay. I got to pray on that one because that sounds a little bit might be familiar or used later on.
I'm gonna read it, and I'm just gonna get me a sign. I'm gonna just have me a signed copy. I will send it to you.
But yeah, just if there's any way I can help, or and if you see me slipping, anybody, call me out. Constructive criticism can save your life. Accountability can save your life. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay, so Lanitra, I just once again thank you to everyone who watched this episode. Man, or listen, this is amazing. I have learned so much, and it's just beautiful. God, I just want to thank you. Oh, before we go, let's pray. God, I
Okay.
thank you so much for Lanitra. God, I thank you for her life. I thank you for her beautiful testimony. How you have brought her from such a way that was out of the way, but has always been a part of your plan. And you have just renewed something so beautiful in her. God, I thank you for all those who are listening, who are watching. God, I pray that if there are any prodigals, if any of us have a prodigal heart where we're in church and our heart may not be with you, or we're just physically removed, God, from you, God, come see us. Come see about us. Let us know that you're right there with us and you love us. And so, God, I just pray that everybody who watched this video is blessed. Speak to people individually, and may they take this testimony and come to you because this is good. God, we thank you for who you are, who you've always been, and you are a redeemer, you are a healer, you are good. We love you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All
Amen.
right, guys. That's all I got for today. I'll see you in the next episode. But remember, friends, you are chosen by grace. I love y'all. Bye.